Hi guys, I am back with yet another tag video for you, and I'm going to be doing the new to Booktube tag. Hi guys, I am going to be doing the new to Booktube tag video for you. This has been on Booktube and YouTube for a while now. I am just getting around to it. Even though I am not new to Booktube, I have been doing Booktube since 2012, but things have gotten to where my mother has started to work part-time as she retired, and she left another job and did part-time jobs when I was living with mom and dad. And it was kind of hard for me to actually start doing a lot of Booktube videos and keep a regular schedule. And so now with me owning a house, I am back to doing full-time videos here on Booktube and doing other videos for YouTube as far as my channel goes. And so I decided to do the new to Booktube tag for you. Question 1 is, where are you joining us from? And I am joining you from Newark, Ohio. I was joining you from Hebron, Ohio when I started Booktube in 2012. Question 2 is, how old are you? I am 30. When I first started, I was 26. Question 3 is, why did you join Booktube? And for me, I didn't really know that the Booktube community existed like most of you. I didn't realize that this was an actual community on YouTube. The time that Stephanie Meyer wrote the Twilight Vampire series, I knew that a lot of people had read them and liked them, and I was hesitant at first to sort of get into the series because I'm an Anne Rice fan, and those are geared towards adults compared to the Twilight series that Stephanie Meyer did. And so I had purchased all 4 books for about $3-something odd on half-price books. I got all of them except for one for like 99 cents. I think the last book I got for like $1 or something. But anyway, I decided to go on YouTube to see if there was anybody actually either talking about the Twilight series or reviewing the Twilight series. And so then I started seeing other videos appear on my feed as far as recommendations from watching the reviews. And those were other book reviews and other booktubers doing book hauls and weekly wrap-ups and different things. And so there's a few that I subscribe to. Aaron over at Rash Queen, who also subscribed to me when I first started doing my Booktube channel, and we have just become amazing friends. Hopefully one day I am trying to plan a trip to the United Kingdom, to London, next couple years. Hopefully I'm able to get close to where she is, to where we can make a day and actually meet. That would be awesome. Also, I started watching Dylan over at Dylan, Dynamic Dylan right now, but he was DM Fern 25 and DM Fern 26. One of those channels was an anime and manga channel only, and I watched both of those. Also, I was watching Richard Denny's channel and Book Movie Guy's channel and a few others who don't do Booktube channels no more, who I wish would come back and do some more videos. And so I just decided that this was such a great community and most of the people were welcoming, and I have made a lot of friends while doing Booktube in 2012, and some of them have continued on to become friends as well still, like Aaron, who's been a loyal fan and friend, and somebody that we actually connected through Facebook again when Facebook became popular. So that is why I decided to join Booktube, just so that I can also be part of the community and talk about some of the things that I like to read and other things as well. Question 4 is, what types of books do you read? And I read anything, pretty much. The only exception is I'm not a romance fan. I did read a few during a bestsellers class in high school. One of those books was by Sandra Brown, and I just didn't really care for that genre. I do like murder mysteries. I am a big fan of Agatha Christie. I like Dean Koontz. I do read Stephen King, even though, like I said, he is a hit and miss author for me. But I do enjoy most of the books I have read, but some of them I just stopped finishing or stopped reading because I didn't really care for the premise or the way he used his words to write the story. I also am a big Anne Rice fan and Brandon Sanderson fan and others that you probably have found out already from my TBR pile and 25 Bookish Facts video about me and other different things too. Also, for those of you who have been stuck with this channel for the 4 years I've been on, that you would also know most of these authors that I like as well. This leads into question 5, is who are your favorite authors? Anne Rice is my favorite author of all time, having read and owned all of her books. And most people know this story, but I can probably do a separate video for the story of how I got involved into Anne Rice and how she opened the door to new worlds for me. Brandon Sanderson is another one. Both of those authors I actually got to meet while I was on vacation. They were happening to be doing a book signing, and the first one, Anne Rice, was in October when The Wolves of Midwinter was coming out. She did a book signing in New Orleans, Louisiana during Halloween week, which is my favorite time of the year. I love Halloween probably because I was born in October. Also, Brandon Sanderson, right before my second diagnosis of the cancer for thyroid cancer surgery that I had to go again and take more out, I was on vacation that week. And after I had the biopsy and another allergy testing done, I went down to Dayton, Ohio, and I got a few books signed by Brandon Sanderson. He's just a real down-to-earth, simple type of guy, somebody I would always buy a new book no matter what. And again, with Anne Rice. Dean Koontz, I'm a big fan of. For those who have followed me on Goodreads will know that I have been in a Dean Koontz kick. I'm reading Dean Koontz book right now, and I have 2 others I want to read before I then can go back to reading some young adult novels. And Stephen King is a hit and miss author, but I do like him, but some of the books I've read I just really can't get into, and so I did not finish them at all. And then I also am a big Agatha Christie fan. For those that know me, I do like murder mysteries. And I also am a John Steinbeck fan when it comes to classics. I also like Charles Dickens. So those are some of the authors I like to read, and John Green is another one for me, obviously with me having the same type of cancer that Hazel Grace had before hers became terminally ill. At the same time that John Green's book came out and I was reading that, of course he is an author that I will just read anything by. And also Cassandra Clare, I have everything by her except for some of the ones that she had written with Holly Black and other co-authors, but the books that she has written by herself, I have all of her work. Question 6 is, what was the last book that you finished or read? And that is Dean Koontz book, and that is The Face by Dean Koontz. It's a really, really good story. Question 7 is, what book are you currently reading? And that is Dean Koontz again, and it is False Memory. And I'm just about done, and it's really good. It's about people dealing with different kinds of phobias and just how the doctor that is treating them messes with some of the stuff in our lives and brainwashes them. It's just an amazing story. I can't wait to actually finish it. Question 8 is, what do you use for bookmarks? Obviously, I do use regular paper bookmarks. I also use the postcards that come in my subscription box that I have. And this one happens to be Owl Crate, and this was the one that just came in this month, but I will definitely be using that as a bookmark. I'll just randomly pick a few bookmarks that I have. This is where I keep all my bookmarks, and I can probably do another video on everything that I have as far as bookmarks go. Here's a 3D bookmark. And another one of my favorite films growing up when I was little was Wizard of Oz, and so I have a few Wizard of Oz bookmarks to go with that. And then I'll just randomly pick something else out. And this is actually another Owl Crate postcard, and this was for October of last year. Question 9, show us your TBR pile. And for that I'll have to go to my office, and I will probably hold the camera and just pan across my bookshelf because there are a lot of books. And I also have a box on the floor still from when I went to Dayton, Ohio, and that still has 30 some plus books in there. some of them I have read. So that's why there's 37 instead of 42 books from the original video. But I probably won't show those since you've seen the haul already, but I will just do a quick panoramic view of my bookshelf in my office to where I keep all my to-be-read pile. So this is my TBR bookshelf that's in my office, and I'm just going to do a quick pan. As you can see, there are a couple books that are missing. One I am currently reading and one I just finished. So I'll just do a quick overview. I'm not going to go into depth and detail about what books are on here because as you can see there are a lot. So that in a nutshell is my TBR bookshelf. There are more books that aren't on here and I will eventually put those on here, but again, like I said, it's quite a lot of books and that's why I'm not going to in depth and telling you in great detail what each book is. So now back here in the library, the next question is hardcover or paperback. I do read both because a lot of times people give me for gifts paperback, and sometimes those come in my book sub boxes like the bookcase.club and a few others as well. I'll get some paperback books, and for the most part I do tend to read hardcover. That's the thing I collect. I am a collector, like I said, more than I am just a reader, and plus the hardcovers look really good on the shelf. And there are some paperbacks, like in the one video I have showed with the VJ Books, the Brandon Sanderson's first Alcatraz vs. the Evil Librarians novel. His first time when he published that was true paperback, was the first edition. And so some of those I do have in my library because they are true first editions compared to the hardcovers. 11, ebook or physical. Hands down physical books for the collector and me. Plus I have the library and physical books look much better on your shelf than on e-reader. Even though I do have books that I am reading on my iPhone and I have books that I have read on my Nook, I do like flipping the pages and the feel of the book and the smell of the book than I do rather than flipping the page of the book that's on the Nook or on my iPhone. And it's not realistic than just to hold a book in your hands and flipping the page and sometimes getting those nasty paper cuts. 12, owning or borrowing. Owning. Again, with the collector and me, I do own. I did not borrow anything. I may let people borrow some, but those might be extra copies that I have and copies that are not in good condition that I don't worry about people messing up. But I do like to own instead of borrow. Question 13, what books got you into reading? Of course, I've always loved Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and also Through the Looking Glass. Those are my favorite two books ever. I also was a Harry Potter fan when I was growing up. That got me more and more into reading and more into the realm of fantasy and magic and folklore. Also the older Goosebumps books in the 90s. I had a whole lot of those. I own movies. I've also watched the television show regularly on Saturday mornings when I was home. And so those were a lot of the books that got me going and got my queued up. But the really big reason that I wanted to continue on to reading and discover new worlds was that of Anne Rice, and I can make a longer video on that, elaborating more on that if you guys want to, like I said before. But when I read The Vampire Lestat and just Anne's way of writing just flowed way through that book, I just really wanted to read more. Not specifically about vampires, but more by Anne Rice and more about different realms and other things as well. And that book just really got me more and more into reading and other genres too. Question 14, I've actually already answered when I was going over question 3, why did you join Booktube? And this one is how did you discover Booktube? And that's again through me searching through YouTube different reviews for Stephanie Meyer's Twilight series when I was trying to decide whether or not I would like to read this series, even though I already had bought the books, and see what other people's ideas were, and discovered that this community existed. And so I decided to join after I discovered that. Again, I'm repeating myself, but basically 14 is one question that I already answered earlier. Question 15 is, what challenges do you think you will have with your channel? And that is probably getting the subscribers growing, and part of that is I'm not a great public speaker, and I think maybe my monotonous tone of voice is something that people might not like. But I do like discussing books, I do like discussing what I like in books and my reviews and different things. And that's one thing why I do not do many reviews, is I just don't really review my words really well. I was born with a speech impediment, and I've been in speech therapy all the way through since junior high, or before junior high. Junior high I did not have any speech therapy, but all the way through junior high I had speech therapy. So because of me being in speech therapy and overcoming some different obstacles myself, I think my monotonous tone that I use throughout the videos might scare some people off, but I just am not that great of a public speaker, and I'm a president and a league that I'm in, and I just always have to have a mic when I'm talking because I cannot really project my voice loud enough, even though I did act on the stage and I was fine with that. But when it comes to like in front of a large group of people, even though on stage, yes, there was a lot of people, but the lights were dim and you really couldn't hardly see them. And just people that are generally, even where I work at, I get nervous easily. I do tend to get nervous easily, especially when I'm talking. And part of that's always been the case, especially with my speech impediments and different things from my speech therapy. But when there are new customers that come up, I always get a little bit nervous no matter what until I get to know them. And it's typical with meeting new people. I always tend to be a little bit nervous at first, and then when I get to know you, I open up to you, and you get to learn a little bit more about me. But I've always had that problem ever since I was little, and that's one thing that I think is going to distract a few people here on this channel. Question 16, where else can we find you? And the only other place, and I will put the link to my Goodreads account, is Goodreads. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you subscribe, like, and comment on this video, and I will see you in the next one.